Okay, now we are starting katakana. So the pronunciation is going to be the same for all of these, absolutely every way the same. It's just a different way of writing. This alphabet is used primarily for foreign words, foreign names, things like that nowadays. Actual Japanese names will be written not only in hiragana, but they will have kanji too. But for us, no such luck. So I guess I will just get right into it. You saw how I did the hiragana chart in the video, so it's going to be the same idea here. You will notice that katakana is a lot sharper, blockier, whereas hiragana is very flowing, very nice. Katakana, not so much. So, and for some reason, you'd think that this one would be easier to remember because it's simpler. But I really honestly think that hiragana is easier to remember for most people. Obviously, you're using it a lot more, so that's going to make it easier to remember once you get into it. But just, I mean, learning it, it seems a little more difficult. So, possibly because so many of them are so alike, I don't know. But anyway, so let's start off. Ah. Okay, ah. And this actually could be a little bit longer, so that's good. E. Ooh. Notice I did the little thing here, then over. Eh. Oh. Notice the hook at the bottom of that. Okay, ka. Very similar to hiragana. Blocky. Check it here again, but no slash, okay? Ki. And this is the thing, by the way, you're going to notice a lot of these are very similar to their hiragana counterparts, but definitely look like katakana, if that makes any sense. Much blockier and a little simpler. So, cool. Cool. Sorry. This pen does not want to write. Ka. There we go. Okay, so notice the difference. Here, I mean, maybe this juts out a tiny bit on top, but not much. Come over, no extra room over here because it's one stroke. Here we have that. Quite on top here. This comes over, and this is a separate stroke coming in the middle. If you do this too close over here and it's too far down, it's going to look exactly like this. And if you do that too much over there, it's going to look like this. So just beware. And ko. Like that. Okay, on to sa. Okay. This is not a hook, it just came down and made a little blob with the pen, so, yeah. She. Totally different. Okay. Now, this is important. I purposefully put these a little bit to the bottom. You generally want them a little bit to the bottom and kind of sideways, and you want a little bit of a bump here where you start coming up, because there's another letter that's, or another character, I should say, that's extremely similar looking. Su. Se. And so. This is another one. This is near the top. And this comes from the top with a little curve in there to let you know what direction you're coming from. It's another one where it's very important. Okay. Ta. This one. Here, let me move my video a little so that it's a little more natural. Okay. Now. Ta. Same as ku, but then you do an extra line. So that's ta. Okay. Chi. Make sure it's curved. If it's perfectly straight down, it's a kanji that means 1,000. So you don't want that. You want it to be a katakana character, so you do that. Okay, this is the one that's very similar to shi. It's going to come from the top down instead. You see the difference? And these are generally done a little more straight down, or these are more across, okay? And from the top. That's the main differences. Do it from the top, and do shi from the bottom, and you'll be fine. Okay, next we have te. So you'll notice I'm not boxing off these guys. It's because you should already know from Hiragana. Definitely learn Hiragana before you start learning Katakana. Don't want to get them mixed up, first of all, and second of all, Hiragana is more important. So I did that video first. Okay, and then to. And the way I'm arranging these videos is purposefully, you're going to have to do stuff outside of just watching the videos. You're going to have to repeat, practice, you know, all that good stuff. Otherwise, it's just not going to stick in. So yeah, just go ahead and do that, and you'll be fine. You know, don't try and watch all these in a day and say, oh, I learned Japanese. No, it ain't going to work, because that's not how college works. These are intended to be separate lessons of college level course. They're taken, I'm essentially taking the material and the rate at which we go, the order of things as we go from college level. So I've changed a few things here and there. For example, at the college level, you might use Romaji for a little while and not use the characters. You'll learn them in the very beginning, but you might not be required to use them for a little while. I am assuming you guys can take as much time as you need outside of class, so you can go ahead and learn them. Outside of the videos, I should say. And the other thing is that they don't generally teach you all the kanji for every word you learn. I am going to go ahead and do that when we get to these, because I think it's a really wonderful way. Instead of trying to teach you something later, you can start to get this stuff ingrained early on. The great thing is, no, you don't need kanji to do them, but first of all, if you ever see a string of just all Japanese letters, there's no spaces, right, in a sentence. It's really hard to pick out what words are what. With kanji, it's really easy, so it's really a lot easier to read. It's also a lot easier because they're ideograms. It's based on an idea, so it makes sense. It'll stick in your mind a little better than just this slur of lettering, when you're looking at it, I should say. When you're speaking, obviously, it's all about the syllables. And also, it just looks better. If you can only write in Hiragana, then you look like about a first grader, except first graders actually know some kanji. So, I mean, that's my point. It's really helpful. So, those are the reasons. Just trying to explain how these courses are going to work as I go along, but sorry to interrupt this video in order to do that. So there's na, and curve it a little. It's just like na in Hiragana, but without the right part. Ni is just like in Hiragana, but without the left part. It's also the kanji for the number 2, by the way, just so you know. Nu, it's like this, and then you do a little tiny dash mark there. Ne, you do a line here. This one thing here, you go down, and you come over here. I really like that one. So line, this guy, down, down at an angle. Okay? And no, which is the easiest one. It's just a slash, slightly curved. Okay? Now let's go to ha. So you go like this and like this. That's it. It's also the kanji for 8, because 8 is ha chi. Just so you know. He. Okay. Who. Who. Remember, it is not who, it is not fu, it is who. This was one stroke, I just paused there too long. I figured that doing it with a pen would be easier for you guys to see. I'm hoping that's the case. Seems to be so, just looking at my screen. So yeah. It also means sometimes I have to clarify, so you don't get the wrong idea about how I wrote something. He is the only character that is exactly the same in Hiragana and Katakana. Okay, and finally, ho. Make sure to do that little hook. And these guys are not connected to this central point here. Not connected, okay? Not connected to anything, for that matter. They're just sitting out there. Okay, ma. Me. mu. And you will note ma and mu are just mirror images of each other around this little stick guy here. Not really important, but interesting. Meh. Okay. I'm gonna do it again just so it's darker. There we go. Meh. And mo. Stroke order, left to right first. Mo. Okay. Remember the Y line, we only have 3. We have ya. Okay, similar to ah. You need to watch out on these ah, ma, ya. Okay? Just so you know. Okay. You is like this. Okay? And yo is like that. And yeah, these can be all the same length. It doesn't really matter on that. As long as one's not like really disproportionately large, it doesn't matter. Okay, to the R line. Ra. And by the way, I use R when I have to use romaji, so just letting you know that is my preference, but either is fine. Ri. So this is the same as hiragana, but no hook, okay? Ru. And some of these you will notice are totally different. Like this has no relation to ru in hiragana. Re and ro. Okay? I do want to also note here ko, yo. Sorry, do. Don't get them mixed up. Okay. Also, bear in mind this. Make sure that it's long enough on the bottom so that it doesn't look like ko. Okay. Wa. Another fun one that looks similar to others. Because if you look, this is really similar to hu. It's really similar to u. Yeah. Su you can almost throw in there, I guess. Quite a few. So. And it's like also this. Ke, te. So there's a lot of similar ones. Ku, ta. Just, I think that's part of why this is such a difficult one to learn. Okay, we have down here wo, which also can be added to ones kind of similar to these. This is not really used because if you're going to use the particle o, it's going to be in hiragana because that's hiragana is used for the native language stuff, and the grammar is obviously native language, so o is always going to be written with the hiragana and not with this guy here. So, but it's there, it's on the chart, so they haven't done away with it completely yet. And is done like that. Do the little tick and do your thing coming up. Notice this is really similar to this. This coming from the top. This guy coming from the bottom. Okay, so there is the basic chart. Since we're only at 13.5 minutes, and we already showed in the hiragana one how this stuff basically works, and I won't have to beat a dead horse too much. The rules are the same with 10-10, with maru, the same as hiragana. So 10-10 here for z, here for g, here for d, here for b, and then maru here for p. And then the things like g, that is the same idea. You have both forms of it, both where'd it go? Here and here. But this is, the normal way. This is old. Same thing with small ya, you, yo. Same idea. Same thing with small tsu. Same idea. It'll just all be, if your base character is in katakana, then your small vowel is going to be in katakana as well. Same with tsu. It's going to be katakana tsu. So yeah, now there is one additional, well, there's two additional things though. Let's see, what's a good name for an example? I can't think of a great example right now, But say that you have a name that you think has an elongated vowel. This would be a foreign name. Say you think Drew, for example. Say you think the oo is elongated. It's not really, but just for an example. How would you write Drew in Japanese? Well, first you have to put the duh in, which is fun because you can't just put a D, now can you? Usually, if there's no vowel and you have to add one in Japanese, you add oo. Okay? So, wait a second, there's no D. How do we get that? Well, as we know, it's 10-10 on some of these other guys. So, what line gives us that? Well, the T line, of course. But you can't do it on tsu. On tsu. So how is this going to work? Well, it's a blast, isn't it? You have to use... Oh gosh, how do you do this one? If I remember correctly... See, this is the thing. This is the sort of stuff you don't really use very often. So, you know, that's just the way it goes. I know that you end up using... Actually, daru. It'd probably be better with an A anyway. I'm not sure if you can do it with a U. You probably can, and you'd have to use a small one of these vowels, which I'm going to get into in just a moment. In katakana, you can use these small for foreign words. In hiragana, you cannot. Okay, but let's do it with da. Sorry guys for failing you with my knowledge there, but it doesn't come up much. Just to be completely honest, it really doesn't. Okay, then ru. Okay, well that's easy enough, it's right there. Let's say that you want to elongate it, ru, which actually might make sense since you have this extra vowel here. It's not daru, it's daru. That's the closest you're going to get in Japanese. Now, normally, you would add an extra u, right? That's how hiragana works. Not here. It's easier. Just do a line. It elongates the sound. Doesn't matter if you have more stuff after it or not, it elongates the sound that comes before it. It's really nice. Okay. Now, how about my name, Theophilus? Well, I'm going to show you how I actually write it. Oops, it didn't come out. How I actually write it is, and this is what Georgians will do a lot, you find the closest thing you can, because they don't have th, and that's a really difficult sound. They don't really have th, and that's a difficult sound. So, my name in Georgian, I lived in Georgia for a year, is Teopile. That's how it's pronounced. So I said, you know what, just take that and put it in Japanese, and that's fine, I'll go by that, because it's way easier for my sensei, who is Japanese. So then, here's how it's going to go. You're going to get te, o, p, remember the maru, and then re, teopile. That's my name. No elongated vowels as far as I can tell. And that's what the Japanese, that's what Sensei said as well. Yeah, not really any elongated vowels, because we don't think in those terms. We have elongated vowels, but we don't think in those terms. But let's say you really want to stick on to your original form. Well, they're probably not going to be able to pronounce it. But TH you can do this way. There's clues you can give a Japanese person. You use sa, and then you use one of the small 5 basic vowels. So here they are right here. So it would be eh. So here's how we do it. Theoretically, this tells them, okay, the. Realistically, they're probably still not going to be able to do it, and it'll probably come out the. But that's okay. O. It's the same. Phi. How are we going to do that? well, we kind of have a H sound. It's usually just changed to H, though. They usually just change it to the H line here. This is what they'd probably do. That being the case, Theophilos. Theophilos. But you can try this, and I bet you'd get away with it. Theophi. Because it is a different sound. They recognize that. They realize. Okay, so small e, notice. Not from the Y line, from the E line. Because it's not Theophi or something. And there's no ye anyway, so we can't do it. And that'd be ro. And then you can't just do su, so it'd be su. But the good thing is su at the end of things generally drops the u anyway. So Theophilos. This is going to be way easier for a Japanese person. I'd go by this. But you can do it this way. So are there other ones that you can change? Why, yes, there are. Let's say, first I'm going to fold this in half. Let's say you want to change a V. Usually, it's changed to B, which we already have. Alternatively, you can try to keep the V sound, and how you notate that is you have an U. You give it 10-10, which obviously we know doesn't actually mean anything for native Japanese. So this is something that's specifically telling them, okay, this is a foreign sound. And if you need to put a little vowel, say it's V. Say your name is Veronica. Okay, how are we going to do that? Veronica. I would just do B personally to make it easier, but if you want to do it this way, it's fine. Veronica. Veronica. Okay? So I'll put a circle here indicating that you can put your vowels there. Okay. I already showed F. You would usually just change it to H. That's what they do. It's way easier. Like I said, you can try and do this thing that I did here at the bottom. But I would just change it to H. That's what they do, make it easier for them. I'm going to show this separately. This is theta, so it's TH, but it's the th. With, for example. I'm going with him. It's a soft TH. So that one I already showed. You do this guy with your little vowel. Like in Theophilos, like I showed. Then there's this. This is an IPA symbol. It's the other TH, the hard one. So the, this, that. So with and this. Okay, so you see the difference. How do they do that one? They do the same thing, but with 10-10. Okay? Other ones. What if you want to do... We already have she, right? What if you want to do sha? What about shu? She, show. How do you do those? Well, it's not too difficult. You do this, but it's not... You don't put ya for sha. You put that. You put the ah sound. Okay? Shu. She. And show. Oops, I almost wrote O as in yo, but you want O. Okay, so sorry about that. And this is how we do commas in Japanese, by the way, which will come up later. It's the slash the other way. So yeah, you don't really need one at the end. The other things I can think of. What if you have the sound ye? It doesn't come up much in English either, but what if you have it? It just changes to e. There's no way to write it because when you're speaking, it's going to change anyway. If you're speaking with any rapidity, it's going to be e in the end. So they just do it that way. However, yeah, they have a sound for it, or a way of writing, I should say. You do e, and then eh. Like I said, they used to have characters for yi and for ye in katakana as well as hiragana. But now it's just e and ye. Yeah. So it does work still. Okay, well that's basically it. Um, that's how you do foreign sounds. So remember, if you have a name with consonants in a row like this, you generally use the oo line, or if you think there's another one that's more fitting, just run each possibility in your head before you decide on one. Sound them out, speak them out real quick, see which one sounds the best, most accurate, and go with that. If you think that it's going to help to do an elongated vowel, so instead of daru, you get daru, which is a lot closer to sounding like a daru instead of daru. Go ahead and use it. That's fine. Just a dash. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed. Now you know both of the alphabets in Japanese and all the rules that govern them. So theoretically, you could write anything you want in Japanese. Realistically, it's going to look really silly if you write big long sentences without any kanji. And that's why we're going to be learning lots of those as we go along so that you look like you know what you're doing while you learn what you're doing. And you don't, sell yourself short by knowing a lot of Japanese but not looking like you know anything just because you haven't learned how to write it proficiently. And frankly, I find kanji to be a lot of fun. It's a blast. They're really beautiful. It makes the whole thing flow and makes it really easy to pick out words, all that sort of stuff. So we'll get into that next time when I get into some basic vocabulary. Until then, learn especially hiragana, but also learn katakana so that you're ready to really move on in force and begin truly learning Japanese. Also, because I'm not going to be doing romaji, so we're hitting the ground running because I want to get hiragana ingrained as quickly as possible in all of you. So, looking forward to it. Not sure when I'm going to post the next one, but I will see you then. Bye.